Alright, what I've got here, and I wasn't thinking about it before I started on it, I thought, well, maybe I need to go ahead and do a video on this. I got a old Collins axe, which is a beauty. I'm not sure what year it was made in, but I mean, if you can kind of see it, it's a full size, I guess what they call a felling axe. I'm not sure, but if you look right here, you can get it in there. Well, let's turn it around here to where you can really maybe see it. It was $5. I think you had to turn it the other way so you can see it, but I get $5 for this thing at the flea market. Is it a carry-on axe? No. I mean, it's basically just what it is. It's an axe you carry with you. I'm gonna make an axe sheath for it. Before I do all that, I wanted to make sure that I didn't waste a good piece of leather. So these old towels here, once they get worn down, the wife gives them to me. I put them in the building, wipe my hands off with them, clean stuff up with. I just don't throw anything away. So what I did was I just laid it in here to get a pattern, basically, so I would know how much I'm going to be using for my leather and how much anything else is. So I kind of laid that down, and I know that right here is going to be my seam. I'm going to fold this down to where it sews into the bottom, and then I kind of went ahead and made the top to where it would put in. Then I can kind of come back and allow for some extra. I'll come in here to where it gets a nice good fit into here. So basically, now that I've got it, I know about how much material that I'm going to need. So I'm going to flip this over, cut off the end, still usable for something else. Make sure I got it about where I need it. Flip this back. You don't want to pull this either, because this will stretch, and a quarter of an inch may be the difference between you being able to sew it and not being able to sew it. So just kind of make sure you just kind of got it laying on there. So I see that I've got plenty of space here to go with it. I want the flap to come down on it. I want it to have enough room for it to go ahead, and I'm going to put a brass fastener inside of it. So I know that right in here is about where that I want it, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this off right here. Not that lucky because it does have a little crease fold in there. So now we're kind of getting this thing to where we're trimming it down some, and we'll flip this over, get it back in there. And I know that I had plenty of space left over, and I'll come back and trim all this back up. So there's that. So I can still just make sure, because like I said, this is on the fly. I'm not, I don't know what you would call it, but I'm not any leather crafter. I'm not going to pay good money when I think I might can do it. Not always can I do it, but there you go. So there's my basic pattern of what I'm going to have, so that thing will slide down, and I'll cut up into here when I get to the leather. So I'll get right back to you whenever I get it going, and we'll go on to fixing this thing up. Okay. I've just kind of laid this up here, getting about a ballpark figure of where I'm at, and then I'll come back and trim off some excess or whatever. We're not going to waste a whole lot of leather this way. Up to there. Turn this thing over. Now I am cutting a little bit above where I'm at. so I do have room to come back and trim off. So it is a little bigger than what it's showing. I'd much rather have to trim off a little than I had to start all over. And this is a lot of leather to end up making just a small sheath for an axe head, but it is a nice axe sheath. So now that we got that, we'll lay it up here and clean all this up and get started. But there's the basic pattern. So I don't know if you got all that on there or not, but that's the basic pattern to it. Okay, so as you can see, here's the basic idea. Get it slid where I need it to. There's that, and then the flap will come over. Now I'll probably round this down up into here, but there you go. And then right in here, see how it's a little thicker here? I may pop this in, but first I got to get this thing soaking wet, because you'd break your fingers trying to work and manage this thing right here. But now you got the idea of how to cut a pattern out. I mean, it's not going to be no production line, that's for sure, but it will serve the purpose to protect that axe for another 75 years probably, because the last Collins axe that was made with that legitimate symbol thing on it, I think it said it was somewhere around 1931, 1932, give or take 10, 15 years, I don't know. But either way, it's been around twice as long as I've ever thought about it. But we'll be back here in just a few minutes after I get her soaked up into some water.
That's some stuff to do.
Alright.
Turn down the background noise. Sorry, just talking to you
About his little adventures. Good channel. Woodsman School. Sarge Ferreira. Can't never pronounce his name, but it's a good little old channel. Really like him. He's very helpful. He'll talk to you too if you need anything. He's got a good web channel. But anyway, I can tell you more about that, or you can just kind of flip over there to it. I've wet this, so now I've got it to where I'm forming it and kind of just laying it down inside of it, and then I'll put that down into here, and I want to form down into here as well. Where that kind of goes in, I'm just going to find out where my edge is, because it's right there. I don't need all this into here, down on the handle here, so we're going to cut up here. Those scissors just don't do as good as they should, but they're doing fine. Same thing here. Kind of gives me an idea of where I need to cut it. Go up, come into it here, where that impression is. There. Same thing where you can see the impression where the axe is made. Kind of round this. None of this is perfect. Just any of my other videos. Nothing perfect on them either. There. Now we're going to stick that back in there. See how well it's done. Kind of gives me a little better, not sure if you can see it or not, but kind of gives it a better feel for to be able to hang up in there. So there's that. Alright, now it's just left for me to come right around through here, poke my holes in, then I'll know about where I'm at. Now this is gonna shrink up some whenever I come in, so I'm gonna put my holes just right around the edges of it. So I use a drill, don't have any. I've got some punches, but the ones that I've got are really just too big. So basically all I'm doing is coming right around the edge right here. I'm gonna punch my holes in. I come back and I'll cut all this out. Inside of there where I put my stitches up, and then back I'll kind of come right around. You can see, I'm not sure if you can or not, but there's I can see the blade form right here. But I want to get another piece that's going to fit right around that same edge. So this excess right here is what I'm going to take off of it to use to give me that extra thickness, basically. Well, here we go. A little armband I'm going to make for my son. Won't fit me. It'll fit him. Gives him something he likes. But this basically is just going to form right around there, and it gives it more protection where it kind of fit in there a little bit better instead of just in there. So I'll get back to doing that in a minute. So we'll be back in a second. Okay, what I've got right here is that little piece that I told you. I just wanted that extra thickness inside of it, for when that folds over, it kind of fits into there. You can see I went ahead and tucked and cut up to here, and then all this right here will be coming out of it as well. But first I want to get my holes drilled so I'll know about where I'm going to be cutting. So as you can see, that's what I'm going to be using. Going straight down. I just kind of like to stop right before I get it. I bought this little thing here to kind of help keep them going into my table. So I'll be right back after I get done drilling those holes. Okay, you can see I put a double pattern down through here. I'm thinking about I might come back here and do a double pattern on here too, but I don't really think that it's going to need a double stitching for what I'm going to do. But if I need to, I can, or when I get going in here in a minute and see. So now I've got basically my stitching pretty much put in. This here will come over, then I'll come back and I'll trim the areas that I don't want. You know, I'll probably just kind of flop right in through here, come down, just down like this. I may leave the whole thing, I don't know. This will give it more protection or whatever, but I will round it off so it does give it a little more nicer look to it. So now that I've got that, I'll just come in here and cut off that after I sew it up. I like to wait till I've sewn it before I cut it. This way I don't have to worry about if I've lost anything. So now I'm going to go ahead and get ready to sew it, and I'll be right back with that. I am going to take and put on here, I forgot to tell you that I was going to do it, but I've got some epoxy glue that I'm actually going to put over that. I probably should have done it before I put the drill holes through it, but I didn't. So shame on me. Now, to make sure that I got it in the right position, I guess it would help if I looked in the right place where the needles are at. I'm just going to attempt to do something that may work. It may not. What I'm going to do is take this needle right here and make sure that I'm in the holes while it's drying to its glue. There we go. Alright. Hopefully that didn't mess up anything. I did remember I wanted to put a stitch in it, or a groove, if I can find it. There we go. This is pretty much what they call a groove stitcher or something. I don't know what it's called. But kind of lets your thread hold down in it's what it does. Keeps it from kind of coming out. Just kind of on an old piece that I've got here to make sure I got the right thickness. As you can see, that's what it does. You just push this. I'm not sure if you've seen that or not, but just take this and push it in there. So I'll be back whenever I get this thing put in. I may go ahead and just show you while I'm doing it. If I mess it up, you'll know how I did it. As you can see, I'm not a pro at this by no means. I know y'all can't see that. You kind of see, that's what it does. So when I'm sewing it, that stitch will stay down inside of it, so that way it doesn't kind of abrasion or anything like that. It won't kind of peel the stitch out. So I'll be back whenever I get ready to sew it. Alright, this is what they call a stitching pony, but it's what I call a 2x4 and some 1x2 made into one of them, because these things were like $60. Little creativity, got it in there. Basically it holds your leather work so that you can do your sewing and stuff on it at a comfortable area, and it's not sitting down here trying to hold the two pieces together. So that's basically what it is. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to sew everything that I got there and get it put in. So basically it's just going to be going through one side and then out the other side of it. That's all I'm doing with it. I hadn't got the needle, just had to throw it in, but it'll go in one side, then right out the other side, back down that side, over to this side, and then back down to this side, back up, and then I'll probably come back up and do another one just right over the top of it. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I've already sewn the gist of it, but what I did was what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a repeat of what I just did. That'll give you a double line through there to where it's all solid in there. There's different ways of doing it. I can never remember one of them whenever I start. I'll just keep going. But as you can see what that's going to do, pull this through. There we go. See how that, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but that's actually going to fill the gap up that's inside of it. So then I'll just come right back on the other side, because the other side is just the same. It's got that gap from one to the next. And just punch it through. And same thing. Get a little snug and back. This little stitching pony or whatever, 2x4 pony I call it, my cheap thing, it really makes light work of this as far as trying to hold it in your hand and twist it and stuff. It kind of keeps everything where it's up here, you know, not hard to make. I mean, it wasn't hard for me to make, but it did take some time to figure it out. I got on a website and I seen what they were, and I thought, well, why in the world would somebody want to give that much if you've got the tools to make it and you think you can? So I did, and it came out. Now these other ones that they sell, there may be something to them that makes it even better, but it does its purpose for what I want it to do. So you can see how I'm doing that, so I'll get back to save some time. Okay. It's inside the sheath now, so you can see it kind of fits up in there where it needs to. I'm going to take, and I've already kind of started it. I've got these little knives. They're hobby knives, I don't know. I just get them and I just kind of trace around it. get it to where about where I want it, and then I just have to kind of keep cutting, because they don't cut the best, but they do cut good enough to where I can get in there. I've got a rounder that I'll come back and use. But you can see it just kind of peels it off. Then I'll come back and round it out, and I'll just do the same thing here, right where this other one was at. Just follow it around. And then now here's where it's going to get tricky for me, because I got to make sure I got the flap to come over. So I'm just going to take here until I can know what I'm going to do with it, and I'm going to just kind of 45 it off for right now until I decide what I'm going to do with it. So as you can see, it's starting to form into, well, get this thing zoomed back out. You can, oh, going the wrong direction. You can see now it's starting to form into something that looks more like an axe sheath. So when I get back, I'm going to put the thing in. I have a couple of little, well, I'll show you when I get to that point, and we'll see where we're at from there. Okay. I always put this little wolf pattern here. I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but I always put that on everything that I do. I'm kind of fond of the wolves. And then I put the prints on everything that I do. My own little taste of it, I guess. But what I've been doing with this right here, to get it more rounded off and stuff, not sure what this thing is. It's an edger, crimper, macer, I don't know what it is. But basically I'm going to give you a gist of what it does. And I'm going to kind of do it right here on this here. Let's see if I can zoom it down to where you can see it. Get over here. What you do is you kind of put this little edge right here wherever you're working at, and you just push right along with it. Not hard, but just a nice, even, firm turn with it. What it does is it gives you a lot of these here. But what it does is it puts that little edge right there on it. So you can kind of see how it does, and then I'll kind of finish all this here up. But what I wanted to do was, because I've kind of been working on it, these edges right here, there's a guy at one of these little places I went to, and he showed me a neat little trick. Now they make a tool that'll put a nice smooth edge on that, but you can take a broom handle or whatever, and you're just gonna roll this right across it. And what that does is it hardens that leather up and kind of gives it a sanded finish, I guess, but it makes it all more uniform. And you can kind of see how it's done there, and then compared to where it was at. But that's what I'm going to do around the whole edge of this right here to get it all going good, and then I'll be back with you. Okay, pretty much it's done with everything that I'm going to do, with the exception of putting the fastener in there. I bought a box of 50 of them. Somewhere amongst all this moving around that I've got, I've kind of misplaced them. But I'm going to wipe it all down real good, and then I went ahead and put it in this. And before I did, I didn't show you anything, but I took and I wiped a good coat of oil on the inside of the axe head itself. And the reason I did that was I don't want it to kind of go and get any more rust on it or anything like that where it's already been. But you can see I've kind of formed those edges around and more smooth. And it's pretty much done with everything, with the exception of putting that little clasp on there. But I'm gonna, what we call, wet forming it, and I'm gonna actually press these things down around through here when I dip it down into the water, and that's gonna pretty much give it that whole form that I want to keep on it. And by doing that, then basically it'll be hardened. And then I had a bunch of people ask me how I wet form it, and then how I've basically taken I put a hot waxing on everything. It's going to be outside, but pretty much that's everything right there. Other than that, and I might do the video, it's going to take overnight, maybe 2 days to actually get that thing dried out and formed the way that I want it to. So I'll go ahead and post this video, and then maybe one on the hot waxing of it, and then you'll get a brief look at it after it's finished and after I've done stained it and everything, or colored it. I use wood stain, and sometimes I'll use a wood glue, not wood glue, but a wood paste stain. I'm not going to go spend a whole lot of money on something that I don't really need to. I'm not selling it, so therefore that's just for my own personal, and it kind of gives that thing some more protection. I'm going to sand down the handle here, put some linseed oil on it, maybe get that $5 off of it. But hope you maybe got something out of it. I appreciate you watching it, and I'll get some more of them out here in a little while and see if I can't do something, maybe a little bit of outside stuff with you. But I appreciate you watching. Thank you.